If you're sick of looking at dated old inventory that's tired and built between the 1980s and late 1990s in Telluride, Colorado, then this video is for you. Today I'm going to show you the most overlooked complex that's on the west end, has great ski access, great access to the grocery store, and my absolute favorite thing that makes Telluride so special, the Valley Floor project, which is over 500 acres of conservation easement that is right out your front door. New construction, 3-bed, 3-bath. It even has a garage, which, if you know Telluride, is an invaluable asset to any of your future assets in this town. We'll be reviewing the zoning regulations in town, so for those of you who would be interested in a short-term rental to use this asset to generate future income as well as create a fantastic tax write-off against your other companies, this place cannot be missed. All right, behind me is the focus of the day. I'm here at the Owl Meadows complex, just off of Mahoney Drive. 240 South Mahoney is the address. Now, I promised you something special, and there just really isn't anything more special, in my opinion, than the Valley Floor, which is everything behind me. About 570 acres worth of conservation easement that is for your use and enjoyment. Both Jonathan and I live on the Valley Floor, and I'm telling you, it is probably the coolest amenity that we have in Telluride, and completely underrated and completely underexplored. In the wintertime, that Valley Floor becomes a snowshoe park, as well as a fat bike and cross-country ski trails are groomed in almost daily. If you'd like to see the cross-country ski map, by all means, stick around till the very end of the video. I'll have it posted. Find it down below in the description and show notes. While you're down there, if you're finding value in this video, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and definitely leave a comment about your favorite Valley Floor adventure or suggestions on what you'd like to see us produce next. In the winter, you have everything I just mentioned, but in the summer, you have even more. The Valley Floor is absolutely incredible when it comes to entertaining both yourself or your guests and children. Specifically, I'm talking about fly fishing paradise. There are honey holes all along the Valley Floor between here and Society Drive, about 3 miles away, that are absolutely fantastic trout fishing. There's great wildlife to be seen on the Valley Floor as well. Where I live, about 2 miles outside of town, we have elk that congregate on the Valley Floor, and I fall asleep to them bugling in the distance more nights in the summer than not. Other summer activities include the river trail, which actually continues beyond the town of Telluride, and it'll take you as far as you want to go. The next 3 miles are on the Valley Floor. However, you could link it to the Galloping Goose and take it all the way up to Lizard Head. And a little known secret in the town of Telluride is Valley Floor either tubing, or if you have a paddle board, it's absolutely fantastic adventure for the entire family. Kids have the option of jumping on the Galloping Goose bus that runs right past this complex on Mahoney Drive, and taking it up to the town park, and then having a nice leisurely, maybe 30-minute adventure float right to the front door here. Or if you do have those paddle boards, you can run it all the way, again, from the town park down to Society Drive. Now, public service announcement, there's a hard stop at Society Drive due to the Keystone Gorge, which is probably impassable, and definitely impassable on something like a paddle board. Make sure that you rent a life jacket or buy a life jacket. And then the most underrated activity of all in Telluride, just a leisurely walk down the Valley Floor. You have huge fields and expanses that are open to be explored, and a lot of people never even leave the trail. I definitely encourage you to take a step off the trail and just wander. The winding river creates so many pockets of paradise. It is absolutely an underrated and undervalued aspect of Telluride. Without further ado, let's take a stroll through the complex. I'm going to show you a couple other key location highlights before we deep dive into what else makes this complex special, including taking a tour of one of the units that is from the first phase of construction. Come along. Here we go, Owl Meadows. All right, as you can see, townhouse style. As I mentioned, there are 3 phases to Owl Meadows. The original phase was built back in 2006. The most recent phase was completed in 2018. Really simple 30-unit complex. They're all townhouse style and they all have a very similar layout. We'll get to that here in a few minutes. Now behind me, we're stepping into an alleyway that's just behind Bachman Village, which is the neighborhood just north of Owl Meadows. And the most important reason I bring this up is because people always forget that the #1 reason folks love Telluride and fall in love with it in the first place is you never have to get in your car. However, when you're going to the grocery store, you're either faced with lugging a huge bag across town, jumping on the bus with your huge bags across town, or just not going frequently enough to really stock up. Well, in the time that it took me to finish that sentence, I've walked to Clark's Market. Right behind me, Clark's is the go-to stop for all shopping in Telluride. One other locational benefit is just across the street, across Main Street, that is the school. The Telluride School District can't be underrated. It's constantly hitting the top 5 for the entire state, and it's a public school. There is a private school here in town as well, if that suits your children better. However, the school system here really is phenomenal. Now, I'm walking back towards Owl Meadows. Here it is behind me. I'm gonna go ahead and flip the camera so you can see what we're surrounded by. All of the complexes on this side of town tend to be built between the early 80s and late 1990s. The reason for that is simple. Back in 1972, when the ski resort opened, naturally everybody wanted to be ski in, ski out. So we have complexes like the Telluride Lodge, like Lulu City, Cimarron, Edda Place, all of these other complexes that are in proximity to Owl Meadows that really are old and dated products. Many of them actually used to be hotels that were converted. And just like that, we've made it to the scenic river trail. Again, this trail is my absolute favorite way to get from point A to point B in town. It runs the entire length of town and beyond. You could walk it all the way out to Bridal Veil Falls on the east end where the Box Canyon stops, or going west through that valley floor to be picked up by the Galloping Goose and enjoy a nice leisurely ride, run, walk as far as you could ever want to go, at least in a day, up to the top of Lizard Head, and then beyond by connecting it to other trails. Why I'm walking the river trail this time is to show you the ski access to the base of Lift 7. At this point, I've been walking for maybe 60 seconds, and we are arriving here at Cimarron, which is the base of the world-renowned Telluride Ski Resort. If you're looking at a map of Telluride Ski Resort, it's really easy to think that this would be a hard place to get to, base of Lift 7. However, I'm confident that just about any skier can take Telluride Trail down and link up to this space. It's not the most obvious thing on the map because of Stumper Ski Run, which is a double black that really leads you straight to the lift. But double check and look at the Telluride Trail. It's a nice green that's falling leaf down the front side of the mountain and it ends up at a very moderate blue. And we're back to the Owl Meadows complex. Now, there's a few things that don't necessarily meet the eye about Owl Meadows. This entire complex really is as far away from the noise that can be produced at the Telluride Town Park due to the festivals. But that doesn't mean that the entire complex is quite as quiet as you might expect. The best properties to most are going to be the properties on the farthest west side. And that is because you have that nice valley floor overlook that is effectively a forever protected view corridor. However, Mahoney Drive does receive a lot of traffic, and as the West End master plan gets further along and redeveloped, and the redevelopment of Carhenge starts to take place, I expect that to be a very, very popular through traffic for all of the construction materials that are going to go into building a massive parking structure, as well as hundreds of units above it. So buyers are faced with the choice of an exterior unit, which does happen to be on the newer phases, or an interior unit. From the third floor, you can still get great views of Ballard, the Box Canyon, or even the ski slopes. But there is a trade-off that you should be considering. So what else makes these townhouses unique to the marketplace? You'll notice the one-car garage. That really is an overlooked necessity when living in the town of Telluride. A garage, or let alone just a parking space, is huge. Think about all of the gear that your family is going to acquire and need a place to store. It can either clutter your living room or it can go in the garage. I would say that that garage might not even be for your car. It's probably just for gear storage. Now notice as I walk through this back alleyway between two of the buildings, there's a second exterior door. This is another massive amenity because you have a one-bedroom lock-off on the ground floor. The other two bedrooms are on the mid-floor. And then just like the majority of the homes in the town of Telluride, Owl Meadows is built upside down. We put the kitchen, living, dining on the top floor to get the most sunlight as well as capture the best view. Why is a one-bedroom lock-off so helpful? Well, if you intend to rent your unit, this gives you tons and tons of flexibility. A one-bedroom is historically the best rental return. So you can enjoy those other two bedrooms plus the kitchen, living, dining on the second and third floors while having great cash flow come from the bottom floor that happens to be next to the garage. Owl Meadows is in the Accommodation Zone District in the town of Telluride. This is important for anybody who wants to make a return on a future asset here because there are absolutely zero rental restrictions.
Telluride gets so much winter-related publicity that it can be easy to forget how spectacular the other three seasons are. With a world-class ski resort in our backyard, it's no wonder these other magical times of year are forgotten. For me personally, I would never have made it 10 years in this town if it weren't for the summer and fall seasons. With these last 3 minutes, I'm going to give you a video tour of what a classic Owl Meadows unit looks like. For the most part, this complex is largely uniform. About 1,500 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 3 full and 1/2 bathroom off of the kitchen, living, dining area. Each unit has its own private patio, as well as an oversized one-car garage. This is unit number 21. It's from the original phase of development, built in 2006. You'll notice there's lots of deep hardwood in contrast with industrial grade steel. This bulletproof building style never seems to lose its appeal, especially in a mountain community. With a tight-knit HOA, the complex runs incredibly smoothly. You get to know each and every one of your neighbors, and a lot of them do live here year-round, which provides a layer of security as well as a layer of care for the complex that you won't find in other larger format complexes in the area.